Capitalist Death Parade! Capitalist Death Parade! Capitalist Death Parade! Welcome to the Capitalist Death Parade with your hosts Joy Marie Mann and Josh Radio Hedge, a podcast where we discuss the dystopian hellscape of capitalism that we call home. Welcome, everybody. Oh my God, it's Josh Radio Hedge.
And it's Joy Marie Mann, and oh my God, do we have an insane week as usual. Oh my bloody God, this is insane. It's
You have to forgive her. She's been drinking spring water from the UK or something. I don't know what's happening.
It's a big bunch of bloody wankers. Never mind the bollocks. It's insane.
See, it's a good thing we're not on UK YouTube because I think you can get pulled for saying wanker.
I don't do this when I have British friends and Africans. I absolutely do not do this because I'm sure if any are watching, they are so offended, and I apologize. Here's a funny story. When I was in high school, I used to pretend I was British all the time just because why not? And
bless you.
Thank you. Sorry about that. And I was in high school and I was at the bookstore and I was with a friend and I said, all right, I'll be over in the biography section. And this guy came up to me and he's like, oh, where are you from? And I was like, London.
Oh, no.
And he's like, oh, what part? And I was like, where all the punk rockers are from. I didn't know what the fuck to say. And he gave me this look that, like, he wasn't happy. I'll just say that. And I was so mortified. I'm like, I'm sorry.
What's that called when you pretend to be in the military, but you weren't? They call it like false heroism or something like that. Something like that. You basically, you stole the funk from somebody who actually is from there. Like,
I know. Let's look at the good side. He believed me. Okay. That's what's important.
That means you pulled it off. Sort of.
Yeah.
At least for the accent.
Ay, Dios mío. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Don't forget, smash that like and subscribe. I see a bunch of you in here already. Thank you so much. So we have plenty to talk about, as usual. First, we're going to get to some breaking East Palestine, Ohio news. And as you guys know, I've been covering this since day one. I've been there 4 times, and I have the residents on frequently to talk about this. This is actually a really big breaking development. And I posted on my Twitter about it last night. This is actually huge. Josh, do you want to read the headline and a few of the paragraphs?
Yeah, sure. So it says EPA puts 139 employees on leave after they sign a declaration of dissent. It says the Environmental Protection Agency on Thursday put on administration leave 139 employees who signed a declaration of dissent about its policies, accusing them of unlawfully undermining the Trump administration's agenda. In a letter made public on Monday, the employees wrote that the agency is no longer living up to its mission to protect human health and the environment. The letter represented a rare public criticism from agency employees who knew they could face blowback for speaking out against a weakening of funding and federal support for climate, environmental, and health science. In a statement Thursday, the EPA said it has a zero-tolerance policy for career bureaucrats unlawfully undermining, sabotaging, and undercutting Trump's administration's agenda, which again is to destroy the EPA, but whatever. Employees were noted that they had been placed in a temporary non-duty paid status for the next 2 weeks pending an administrative investigation. According to a copy of the email obtained by the Associated Press, it is important that you understand that this is not a disciplinary action. Boy, that's funny. I've never heard of being put on administrative leave not as punishment.
Yeah, go
That's
figure.
weird. That's weird.
So this is really important because as someone who's been covering this for 2.5 years and has a very close relationship with the residents, this is important because people are finally speaking up. It took way too long, but shout out to Government Accountability Project, who has helped people like Edward Snowden and represents yours truly for being a whistleblower in things I recorded in East Palestine. We're hoping that some of these people will also be reaching out to GAP. That would be amazing. We need more people doing that. This kind of falls in line with the breaking news I shared last night. A lot of the residents still text me things that go on in within the EP community that other journalists don't have access to. Well, most journalists don't care about EP to begin with. But anyway, so if you could put the next thing up.
Yes, 2 seconds. And then we've got another little screenshot here I'm throwing up for you.
So this was not surprising at all. One of my sources texted me this last night, and this is really big because Mark Durno was the head of the EPA in East Palestine, Ohio, since day one, since the actual derailment happened. And he is an environmental terrorist. He is an absolute piece of trash. He is garbage. If you want to see why Government Accountability Project represents me as a whistleblower, you can look at my channel. I have 1 hour and 31 minutes of a recorded conversation I did with Mark Durno without his knowledge. And in Ohio, it is a one-party consent state. So I was allowed to do that. So because he didn't know I was recording, he let it all out. And he says some things that I don't think he would have said if he knew I was recording. Let's put it that way. So the fact that he has now left that position is really interesting. And I talked about it with residents numerous times, and we're not shocked. However, this is conjecture. I have no proof of this whatsoever. I would not be surprised if he did not leave on his own accord. And because he's like, by the end of the day, my email won't work and stuff like that. He was already on thin ice. He was at the so-called Welcome Center downtown East Palestine that made us all sick every time we went there. And he was already moved from there a couple months ago, not that long ago, to more of like a desk job type thing. So we kind of figured he was kind of going to be on his way out. I'm not the only person who caught him on tape saying jacked up shit. So in any case, the fact that he is resigning from the EPA is quite interesting. Furthermore, we are hoping, because he sent this to several residents, that we can possibly count on him coming forth with some information. The interesting thing about Durno is he is slimy and smarmy, and like, keep in mind, the EPA is the Department of Homeland Security. That's what that is. You might think it's an environmental agency or something. It is Department of Homeland Security. That is who they are under. So the fact that he's just up and leaving. Now, he was also in charge of the Flint disaster. Okay. So this dude has two under his belt. The fact that he's leaving does give me a little hope that maybe he'll speak up even on the down low as a whistleblower. And the reason is because he sent this to people I know everyone he sent it to, and they're people who have been very outspoken with what has been transpiring in EP for the past 2.5 years. They are people who have gone to his office vocally more so than anyone else. They're people that he was likely intimidated by because they didn't let him rest and, just do his shit. Like, they're people who actually have held him accountable. And if you think about it that way, why would he email these people? He never has to talk to them again. It's almost like breadcrumbs. Maybe I'm too hopeful. I don't know. But he's always wanted people to like him. It is so hilarious. You can be so rude to him and call him out on so much stuff, and then he'll be like, thank you so much for coming to meet with me. He really wants to be liked. I've never seen someone like that. That's like so powerful and so just gross, but yet so just desperate to be liked. So what's that?
I said, yeah, I'm just agreeing with you.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes. I mean, if he comes forward, it's obviously going to be anonymous and I won't be able to share that. But I think that I wouldn't be surprised if he does. And more people are whistleblowing. Unfortunately, it is too late in many ways. I get texts several times a week about more and more people in the hospital, more people with cancer, more people with nodules on their lungs and bleeding out of their ears and can't have children. And, just the list goes on continuously. So it is too late in many ways. These people are still stuck in either their car or the house that is making them sick. So they're still in that hostage situation while this multi-billionaire billion-dollar company, no fucks given, sits there and fights them tooth and nail, and won't even buy out their houses. So in a way, like, thanks to the people speaking up, but in a way, like, what took you so fucking long? But anyway, so yeah, unfortunately, I'm thankful that I've been able to go out 4 times and have such a connection with so many of the residents. And and I'm definitely going to be going out there again for sure. So definitely don't stop talking about East Palestine. They have been forgotten. They are poor, working class people who are like, their houses are worth like $85,000. Like, these are people who are very happy with what they had. They're not rich. They're not, affluent, which is why they've been discarded. It's an extremely rural area. Like, when I go there, I'm like, just kind of, I'm in Harrisburg area, so I'm not used to like so many trees and, just grass and stuff. Like, it's super rural. So when you take, these people's lives from them and tell them you can't go into creeks anymore to play, and you haven't been able to drink any water for 2.5 years, and your shower water is giving you chemical burns and all of these things. And even though people stopped talking about it over 2 years ago, it's up to us to still talk about this shit. So anyway, that's my rant. But yes, that's pretty huge news that Durno is no longer employed with them. They'll get another stooge to take his place, but Durno is someone we've always talked about that, like, we feel like he might snitch at some point. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but when all of us who know him personally, so fingers crossed. So that is the EP update.
All right, Joy, I'm chomping at the bit over here. You know I am.
All right, so just as a disclaimer, you guys, I think I see 85 of you watching, so y'all need to smash the like and subscribe and come in, and we want to see these freaking comments. As a disclaimer, what are we going to call EPSTIEN? Because
We can't even say his name. Don't say that.
Look, I'm telling you, dude.
It's a common last name.
They have taken down my show. I'm not playing.
You really don't want to use the dude's name? Really?
Listen, I'm just going to say, we're going to say Jeffrey. That's what we're going to say.
I like smoking a Jeffrey.
I'm trying to chance this shit. They've taken down my show for this. I'm not kidding you. And you know what they also took down my show for? This was election time. Pelosi. Literally talking about her.
Because you used her name or because you talked negatively about her?
Because I used her name and it came up in the algorithm and they decided that it was like they gave me a strike for it. Anyway, I digress. So yes, we're gonna call him Jeffrey, and we're going to have to use some different kind of verbiage, but y'all know who he is and what he did or does.
Yes, and you know about his list. Well, you thought you did.
There's no list.
What list?
I mean, Ghislaine is in prison for trafficking nobody.
No. Nobody at all.
Nobody. That makes sense. So what?
And
the fuck
poor Jeffrey.
Be let out now?
Yeah. What about poor Jeffrey, who never harmed a soul? Who never did a single thing wrong and then unalived himself? Why? Why did he do it when he didn't even do anything wrong? Oh, man, if only he had waited out. If he had just held out a few more years, he would have been exonerated entirely. Well, what are you going to do? So I'm going to go through. These are just some of my favorite memes because, come on, man. This is, let's be honest. Watching Donald Trump launder the pedo conspiracy and try to get everybody who was on Jeffrey's list just off entirely. This is the funniest thing that I think I've ever seen Trump do.
But even Democrats, look, I'm sorry, when I think Jeffrey, I go to Clinton.
Bill, of course.
But
he invited Ghislaine Maxwell to his daughter's wedding.
Ghislaine. I mean, yeah, here's the issue, though. I don't know if y'all know this shit, but it's true. You can look it the fuck up. Slick Willie, Bill Clinton, had Jeffrey to the White House when he was president 17 times. To the White House. For what? It's in the fucking White House visitor logs. 17 times. Why are you having him at the White House, first of all? And 17 times for what? For what? Now, I mean, we already know this is bullshit, but let's just say it wasn't there to do anything shady. You know his reputation.
I'm just saying, I think he was just there for poker night. And by her, I refer to underage victims.
That could be, but maybe Slick Willie should have taken him to one of his houses where he has prison slaves serve him.
Oh yeah, from Hillary's book. Man, that is that's some quality stuff. Only Hillary can praise slavery and make it sound like it's a noble thing. Man, she's great. I wish we really missed out on her. We should have voted for her.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through these memes. These memes are killing me, by the way. We'll start out there with some laughs. Daily Show writes, breaking, a Trump GOJ investigation has found that this photo does not exist. And if you saw it, no, you didn't. And of course, it's Trump and Jeffrey looking just chummy as two chums could be. I think it was Jeffrey himself who said in an interview that him and Trump were best friends for over 10 years. Man, now that's a beautiful thing. Joy, have we even been friends for 10 whole years?
What?
Have we even been friends for 10 whole years? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we haven't even experienced that kind of a bond between Trump and Jeffrey.
Our friendship anniversary. Remember a
It's
couple
true.
days ago?
A couple days ago, we hit 9. The
9
big 9.
years.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, we're no Jeffrey and Trump, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately.
But since Jeffrey is no longer kicking, just wait a year and we'll be there too, buddy.
Yeah. Right. All right. Here's, of course, Norm brought back from the dead for this one. Says, in other news, Ghislaine Maxwell becomes the first person ever to be convicted of trafficking children to nobody. Yep. That's a good little headline. Good little headline. This one.
Truthfully, that scares me.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to try and appeal now and get her ass out? That's really scary.
They really, really are really taking a gamble here because they think that people are stupid enough that if they just say literally the sky is like purple with green polka dots, that people will be go, yes, it is. And most of the time they'd be right. But let's not forget that Trump kind of built a huge chunk of his movement, the QAnon type people. He drew them in by promising retribution against Jeffrey and all of these people, these elites that were on the list, and repeatedly.
Okay, so before you go further, I just want to say we have a wonderful person in the comments who is licking the ball sack of the terrorist state of Israel. So shout out.
Shame. What a shame.
Keep watching. Maybe you'll fucking learn something.
Yeah.
If not, hey, it's your soul, not ours.
What do you think? Is Netanyahu's nutsack like barbecue or salt and vinegar? What's the flavor?
I think he's definitely salty. He's a salty motherfucker.
He's as salty as they come. All right, let's ditch that guy and jump back to this here. So here's another great meme. It says, no Jeffrey list. Also, he unalived himself. I love that. Everybody comforting the poor MAGA as oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I got like one or two more. Okay, this is a fantastic quote. This is like the quote of the month for me from Caitlin Johnstone. She says, if you're just tuning in, turns out Al-Qaeda in Syria are not terrorists, but the peace activists in the UK are. The guy committing genocide in Gaza says the guy backing the genocide deserves a Nobel Prize, and Jeffrey was a misunderstood angel who unalived himself. Yep, in 1984, literally the opposite of the truth. All the time, 24/7, just the opposite of whatever you can see and hear with your own ears. Hope you fall for it. My goodness. And then,
Shout out to Caitlin. I love you.
Dude, I've followed her since Twitter like launched, or at least when she got on there. I've been a fan of hers for so long.
Yeah, we've been following each other since I joined about 5 years, and we've talked in DM. She's just so cool. She always fucking nails it. And like she could make a post that's 2 sentences and you're like, yep, absolutely.
Yep. All right, now we got to get into some of the Elon Musk aspect of this just because I'm loving it. It's all very recent, so I don't know if you've seen this. So here's a post from Elon that says, hey, what's the time? Oh, look, it's no one has been arrested o'clock again. And then below that, the meme, the official Jeffrey pedophile arrest counter, and it's at all zeros.
And Elon put this?
Yes, he did just a few hours ago.
There's the picture of him with Ghislaine.
Yeah, right? Throw it up.
I'm so confused. Wait, what? Please text me that, because
I will. You're confused. I know why, and let me help you, okay? You're saying to yourself, wait a minute, he's on the list. Obviously, Elon is on the list because he literally was in contact. There was leaked emails when Elon's email got hacked, and there were leaked emails between him, Jeffrey, and Ghislaine, okay? So ultimately, we know that they're connected, and we know that he was on Jeffrey's plane at least once. I think it was maybe multiple times, okay? But now, this is where it gets so wild. So you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, he's on the list. Why is he trying to do this, right? Well, if you listen to Trump just said there is no list. So how can all Trump has to do is be like, A, it doesn't exist, but B, the obvious defense that you would think that anyone like Trump or in his circle would do is, you're on the list. Well, they can't do that because there is no list.
Right. There is no list, but if there is, you're on it.
This is incredible. He's in a position right now where he can call them pedos until he's blue in the face, and they can't get him back because he'd be like, well, "Do you got a list with my name on it? Do you got a list over there?" Oh my gosh!
Will we have the flight log?
Yeah, we do. Trump's on there. All right, so now we're going to jump into some of the evidence I want to use to back up.
Can I just point out how you're pulling these up by yourself? You realize that, right?
What I did this time is I pulled up a single window of a bunch of pictures so I can flip through the photos to make it easier on you. I did it to make it easier for you. I can't always do this, but I did it this time. So anyways, this is from an article back in March 20th of this year. And I'm going to jump to the bottom. This is, again, info got from the DOJ and Pam Bondi. It says as many as 1,000 FBI agents, many of whom are usually focusing on national security matters, have been enlisted to help with this effort going through Jeffrey's files. So as many as 1,000 FBI to go through, and this is again from Pam Bondi. She said there were tens of thousands of pages of documents. She said there were tens of thousands of hours of footage. By the way, Kash Patel says there is no footage, whatever that's about.
I have a video. We're going to get to it.
Okay, so here's the next one, and this is where it gets even more interesting. I don't think I have this is more into the conspiracy. Let me jump back into that real fast, and then we'll jump to my evidence. So, but you know what? We'll get to that in just a second. Let's jump out of that, and we'll jump back in 1 second. All right, this is the evidence. I've found the smoking gun, Joy. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I feel like what's his name? Geraldo, when he's about to open up the freaking the vault for Al Capone, except I actually found something. Get this. I went to the DOJ's website. Oh, sorry, let me pull this up. I didn't put it up. Here it is. I went to the DOJ's website and I looked up what their previous.
You need me?
Yeah, for this one I do. I went to their website and I pulled up their previous statement.
I don't see anything. Oh wait, hold on.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So I went to their website. This is again justice.gov. This is the Office of Public Affairs for the U.S. Department of Justice. And I went back and I looked at their previous statement on Jeffrey. Listen to this from Pam Bondi. The Department of Justice is following through on President Trump's commitment to transparency and lifting the veil on the disgusting actions of Jeffrey and his co-conspirators. Then she says, the first phase of files released today sheds light on Jeffrey's extensive network and begins to provide the public with long overdue accountability. So let me make sure I read that right. Okay. Co-conspirators in an extensive network. This is the DOJ 5 months ago, 4.5 months ago. Okay. And now they're saying, no, instead of co-conspirators, now it's no conspirators. That's crazy. It took 1,000 FBI agents to go from extensive network of co-conspirators to no network of no conspirators? You're kidding me.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I just had to share that with y'all because it's like their own words. Also, I'll give you another quote from this. This is also from that post, the memo that was put on the DOJ's website. This is from Kash Patel. He says, the FBI is entering a new era, one that will be defined. Hold on, let me make crazy eyes at you while I say this.
Well, I can't see it. I believe you, but I can't see it.
Okay, all right, I'm making the craziest eyes I can, all right? The FBI is entering a new era, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. Look at them eyes. There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, no stone left unturned. and anyone from the prior or current Bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them, and we will bring everyone we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we take to the Constitution and under my leadership, that promise will be upheld without compromise. Crazy eye, crazy eye, crazy eye. So anyways, I don't know. I just had to share that. No cover-ups, no missing documents. And then 5 months later, no unaliving. All right, you ready for my next?
They were never gonna admit anything about the way he was unalived. I mean, let's be real. Never.
Who was the last person to see him alive? Who was the last person? Oh, it was Bill Barr. Bill Barr was the last person to ever see Jeffrey alive.
Bill Barr?
Who was Bill Barr? And do you remember who Bill Barr's dad was?
Bill Barr. I thought you said Bill Maher. I was like, well,
no,
yeah,
not Bill Maher.
I get it.
No, Bill Barr. And let's not forget, Bill Barr's dad gave Jeffrey his first ever job as a teacher in an all-girls school.
Yep.
Even though Jeffrey never went to school to be a teacher and didn't have a degree.
Yep.
So, I mean,
guys, I did a 12-part series on Jeffrey and Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who you could do a 12-part just on him alone. They're all connected to Israel. And mind you, you can look this up too. Ghislaine's father is buried in Israel, which only like Pharaoh, or not pharaohs, like kings.
Oh, back in the day, maybe.
My brain's not working. Which only people of like certain power get buried there, but he was able to pull those strings, and he is buried in a certain specific spot in the terrorist state of Israel because of his power. Now, the interesting thing about him is he just somehow winded up falling off a boat. How? I don't fucking know. He just fell off a boat.
We all do that.
He was a bajillionaire and lots of connections to Israel. Also connections to the CIA and FBI. So if you want to learn more, go to my 12-part series. It's called Chasing Shadows, and it's on my YouTube channel that you're watching right now. We found so much documentation, even from like the CIA and everything. It's freaking madness. It is madness. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like everyone involved in this kind of shit and with this kind of power and this kind of money.
Bless you. Bless you.
It's always connected to the fucking CIA. It's not a conspiracy theory. It happens all the time. And that's how they get away with it.
Yep. All right, Are you ready for the next big piece of the conspiracy? This is so good. This is so good.
I don't know. I'm scared.
Oh, this is making me so happy. Okay. So the DOJ released hours of footage that they claimed, unedited footage, that they claimed proved that no one unalived Epstein because no one went into his cell. But weirdly enough, the footage doesn't show Jeffrey's cell, or it just shows an area that leads ultimately to his cell, but you can't see it. Okay. But they said, hey, this unedited, like 10, 12 hours of footage that we're releasing to the public, this is the proof that no one went in there. You got proof.
The footage that didn't exist.
The footage that didn't exist.
Because the camera was broken.
Well, no. The camera that was pointed at his cell was broken, but this one wasn't. And it was pointing at a different area that leads to his cell eventually. So they're saying that this proves that no one could have gotten to the cell. So they released this video. They claim it's unedited, right? Gizmodo just released this. It's like DOJ releases video of Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell, but there's a minute missing. And actually, I watched the video. There's 61 seconds missing, or it just jumps for no reason in the unedited video. And I'm like, y'all got tools now. You got AI. Why couldn't you at least fake that minute or do something?
Seriously.
How did you think people wouldn't watch the video with the time code on the bottom of the screen and not see that 61 seconds goes clink? And I'd like to point out.
And also, what about employees? Like, do you think someone couldn't have paid an employee to do it? What?
You mean one of the dudes that fell asleep? How could they have done it if they were asleep? Multiple guards fell asleep and his cameras broke all outside of his cell. Oh my gosh. What a nightmare.
I hope, does this have a name of who published this?
Yeah, article? Matt Novak.
Oh no. He better hire security. Yo, Hillary Clinton is like, Hizzlebub is on it, man.
Do you want to see the jump? I can show you the jump.
Yeah, let's see it.
Oh, this is fun. All right, here we go. 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. Oh, a minute and 2 seconds just jumped.
The screen jumps.
Yes.
It's not even like if you're not looking at the timer on the bottom, the screen goes.
Yep.
Like, just so everyone watching knows, I'm 85% blind, and I can see that. Just so everyone's aware.
It's incredible. It's incredible. They told us it was unedited footage, and then they sent out edited footage. And they think that people aren't going to... I really do think that they think all Americans are as dumb as Trump's own base. But here's where it gets really funny. You think to yourself, man, Trump's own base, they're probably just eating this right up, right? Because that's what anything Trump says goes. If the sky is green with purple polka dots, they say it is. If that's what Trump says. Anyways, I'm going to pull up this post from Trump here. I thought it was kind of magical. If you'll throw that one up for me. Oh, hold on. It moved on me. I'll find it. There it is. It says, I'll do my best Trump here. The FBI, under the direction of Kash Patel and Director Dan Bongino, is back to the basics, locking up the criminals, cleaning up America's streets. We got the greatest law enforcement professionals in the world, but politics and corrupt leadership often prevented them from doing their job. That is no longer the case, and now they've been unleashed to do their jobs, and they're doing just that. Keep it up and make America safe again. Okay? Now, have you been to Truth Social? Have you ever come here?
Truth Social. I've heard of it.
This is Trump's social media platform where he
yes. I've heard of it, but I've never been there.
Yeah. This is where he literally will just drop random things like, I just bombed Iran, or I just put tariffs on this country, and everyone finds out through Truth Social. Okay? So anyways, whenever Trump posts literally anything on this site, for the longest time, I was convinced that Trump built this site just filled with bots so that every single one of his posts was just endless ball coddling, never ending. Like every single response is, sir, you're the greatest president ever. I think you're Jesus and I want you to be my king. Will you please, can I call you daddy? Like every post is the most obnoxious simping you've ever heard in your life. Okay? Wait till you read the comments on Trump praising Kash Patel and Dan Bongino after they say there is no client list. Let's go through these You got to see these to believe them.
Are their names like a bunch of numbers?
Well, some of them are also like exactly what you expect. American Gal 69, and who's this other one? MAGA memes are Katie, where we go one, we go all. There's another dude down here who's like Violin Man Patriot, Fight for Freedom, U.S. Marine Corps. Like all of these people are Trump's base. These are who these people are, okay? But listen to their responses. So Andrea's like, Trump, I have been extremely loyal to you. I'm very pleased with most of what you've done, but I draw the line on this one. If you are who I think you are, brave, big at heart, you're going to stand 10 toes down for what's right and bring truth to light. Please release that info no matter what. If you don't stop and expose what happened on that island and what is a huge problem in our country for these children, then who will? Somebody is being blackmailed. God put you in your position for a reason. If you do what's right, your supporters will always stand by you. Now, that's one of the ones that's still on board. She's like, sir, they're lying to you. And there's a bunch of people on here with like, you've got to fire Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino and Cash
But does
Patel.
she like
They're lying
not
to you.
realize like he's like involved or like
not yet? But listen to some more of these people, man. Like this is one responding to Trump. Again, American Gal 69. She says, MAGA begs to differ with you. She's speaking for MAGA. She says, MAGA begs to differ with you. Dan, Cash, and Pam, Diddy walks, and now this. We the people demand to hear from you, not a truth post. So they're even saying, Trump, you need to go out here and you need to make a statement, not just a truth post. And by the way, I searched Jeffrey's last name on Trump's Truth Social to see how much he's talked about him. He's mentioned him 3 times in the entire existence of this website. And all 3 times it was used to try to smear Democrats.
Oh, yeah, it's predictable.
But that's what I'm saying. He has not spoken about this dude in a year and a half, not even used the name.
We need to Google or search for how many times Democrats have talked about Jeffrey.
Yeah, well, you're right. This is the most bipartisan conspiracy in the history of mankind. Like, yeah. I'm gonna jump into this real quick because I think people need to understand how far back this goes. Like you were talking about 17 trips to the White House under Bill Clinton. This goes back so much further than that. The earliest known inklings we have of these underage trafficking operations go back to Reagan, actually. What was called the Boys Town, I think they called it the Boys Town conspiracy, because for some reason there were young, runaway, underage male prostitutes who are signing in late at night and going to the White House. And then as these people decided to start coming forward, they all got unalived. All of them. Except for one who, and I'm not even making this up, it was a woman. There were men and women in this, but this was a woman who, again, was underage when she was trafficked. She gave this testimony, and the judge ruled that her testimony was a lie, and because she lied to the court, they charged her with something like 35 years in jail for lying to the court.
I believe
and she's
that.
The only one that didn't end up unalived who tried to testify. So what I'm trying to let you know is this was before Jeffrey, before this was his bag. The bag gets handed from generation to generation. I don't even know who's in charge of this now that Ghislaine and Jeffrey are out the picture. I don't know who's in charge now, but I do know one thing. I know who's in charge of the evidence, and I know who's in charge of the cover-up. And he's in the White House right now. And you can say, hey, why didn't Joe Biden release it? For the same reason that Donald Trump won't release it, because it implicates everyone.
I mean, nobody can be shocked by this, though. Like, literally nobody. I am genuinely concerned what this means for Ghislaine. I am really concerned. Is she going to have grounds for an appeal now? That is my concern.
How could that be? I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump pardoned her, right? What are you going to do?
So, yeah, for those who are watching, I just published a book last week that is the most insane wrongful conviction you'll ever hear about in your life. After reading this, you'll understand why I'm paranoid about shit like this. Because there is no fucking so-called law and order. There is, like, all that shit is fucking bullshit. There is no justice system. Anything is possible with political figures and money and fame and everything. She knows everyone. Ghislaine has dirt on everyone. Everyone.
Yeah.
They could pull those strings. I'm telling you guys. And I fucking hope I'm wrong.
I didn't pull the video up. I'm going to pull a different thing up, but I didn't pull a video up. But there is Pam Bondi literally 2 months ago. And I think a lot of people have seen this circulating online where she was on Fox News and the Fox News host asks her, so you have the Jeffrey client list on your desk right now? And she's like, yes, I do. I have it on my desk right now. And now it doesn't exist. And now you've got what's her name? What's the name of the lady who's the Trump's press secretary? I always forget her name with a little cross, the blonde girl.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting her name.
I
Anywho, that lady, Levitt or whatever, something Levitt.
Yeah.
So she's all like trying to defend it, and what was I'm trying to remember how she defended it. Even I've already forgotten what her defense was, but she tried to like play it off. Oh yeah, she mentioned like something like, "Oh, everybody knows that he unalived himself," and also Trump is focusing on. And then so she basically gives like a 4-second response, and then immediately pivots to Trump's the best law and order president ever, and goes on to fill as much time as she can, and then jump to another person's question. So she doesn't, of course, can't even acknowledge this situation. Here's some of Trump's biggest supporters as of a few days ago, who are now not so much. Robbie Starbuck, who's got a huge following. He says the new DOJ memo admits that there are countless victims of Jeffrey on video, but there's no client list. There's no evidence of other assaulters that they can charge. It claims that Jeffrey wasn't using the videos as blackmail. So Jeffrey was trafficking these underage girls to no one. Is Pam Bondi serious? No one who has followed this for years believes that everyone who went to Jeffrey's Island was just there to catch some waves and relax. Again, no one believes this for a very good reason. What Jeffrey and his ilk did was pure evil. This memo attempts to close the book on it like there's no one else involved. I can't pretend that's okay. The victims deserve better. The public deserves better. Bondi just made it worse with this memo. What a terrible, terrible idea it was to write this memo. Now he's all talking about how the memo's the problem. No, I think it's the covering up the pedophile conspiracy. I think that's what it was. Let's jump to the next one here. These are all so good. They're all shorter too. Hold on.
But we need to seriously think about this. The fact that Diddy just happened like a week or two ago, now I have, this is 100% conjecture. I've seen people saying, it wouldn't be surprising if Jeffrey and, P. Diddy were like connected. Obviously, that goes without saying. He's rich, he's famous, he's rich, he's famous. Wouldn't be surprising at all. What would it be very shocking if they let Diddy off the hook with all that? Because if they didn't, they would then have to really press hard on Jeffrey, and people would be that much more outraged and that much more upset and want that much more information.
So kind of priming the pump, getting us prepared for disappointment.
Yeah, well, not like, okay, so remember when the Me Too movement, with each person that came out and got accused, the more fervor it gained, the more mad people got. Well, if they found P. Diddy guilty, then they would expect them to find Jeffrey guilty, which means people would want more info because he was guilty, and so on. I will never fucking forget, and now my brain is freaking forgets his name. The guy who I want to say he was Florida, but he
Alexander Acosta.
No.
The prosecutor that did the sweetheart deal?
No. Okay, he was accused of underage girl. And Matt
the one that was just recently out in the Congress not that long ago.
Matt
Gates.
Okay. So check this out. Nobody freaking noticed this except me. And I was like posting it everywhere on Twitter. And I bet you nobody even remembers this. Okay. So Matt Gaetz, that came out the day that Ghislaine was arrested. The day. And in those articles, when that came out about him, it stated in every single article, we have been looking into him for over a year. So explain to me why you've been looking into this for over a year, and it happens to come out the same freaking day, after the same day they arrest Ghislaine Maxwell. Please tell me why.
Look over here. Don't see what this hand is doing. Look over here. Look over here. You know, sleight of hand. It's all sleight of hand.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's all one big ass fucking incestuous clusterfuck.
Yep. So we talked about Laura Loomer last week. Again, one of Trump's closest confidants and advisors, and she's using the tact of Trump's been tricked. So she's like, Blondie lied. She was always lying. And then she says that, let's read this. It says, in a recent clip from Benny Johnson's show, Congressman James Comer admits that we still haven't seen the Jeffrey files 100 plus days into Trump's return, and we probably never will see them. So she's basically just saying that she was always lying. Even back then when Pam Bondi said, we're going to get these out, it was always a lie. And of course it was. Trump in the election, when he was running, was on Fox News. They're like, hey, are you going to release the JFK files? Oh, yeah, of course. Are you going to release the MLK files? Oh, yeah, of course. Are you going to release the Jeffrey files? Not so much.
Are you going to arrest Hillary Clinton? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on, dude. He literally was like, yeah, we're going to, well, maybe not so much on the Jeffrey ones. You know, a lot of innocent people could get caught up in that. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Which innocent people are you talking about, sir? You talking about the ones on the list? Oh, no, there isn't a list. My bad. All right. There's a couple more. We'll jump to the next thing. But, Cernovich says, no one is believing the Epstein cover-up at real Donald Trump. This will be part of your legacy. There's still time to change it.
Wow.
Dude, Trump
even
has
the most right-wing
on a
people
landmine.
At him.
Dude, he stepped on a landmine. He is now the head of the international pedophile cover-up. He is now the head of it. It's his. He owns it now. I don't know why
I'm saying that word because it's going to come up on my algorithm.
Oh, sorry. We'll say pudding pie. Pudding pie rings. The pudding pie rings.
No, you can say like pedo, but don't.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know the words. I need a 20-mile long list of the words I shouldn't say on YouTube. All right, let's go to the next one. Here's Jack Posobiec. We were told more was coming, that answers were out there and they would be provided. It's incredible how utterly mismanaged the Jeffrey mess has been, and it didn't have to be. No, it didn't. It didn't have to be, because they literally, remember they handed out all those packets to all of those various influencers, and they were like, this is phase one of the Jeffrey files, and there'll be more to come, and we're going to release the giant network of co-conspirators. They are the ones who said all this and handed it out to all the various influencers to repeat it. If the way I look at it is, I think that Donald, he knows he's well involved in all this. I mean, I mentioned Alexander Acosta. Let's mention him real quick. Alexander Acosta, he was the prosecutor in Florida, and he was the one that was prosecuting Jeffrey for some pretty gnarly charges of bad things, including trafficking of underage women, okay? Underage girls. And one of the things that happened was there was a sweetheart deal cut where only Jeffrey would be found guilty, and he was given a special deal where he was allowed to leave the jail 5 or 6 days a week and be gone for work. Now get this. I actually saw an interview with one of the cops whose job it was to guard Jeffrey at his office, at his mansion, where he got to spend 90% of his time while he was in jail for, trafficking kids. And he says that multiple times he would be forced to stand guard outside of Jeffrey's office, not allowed inside, while all day long, just an endless stream of young women were being just run through there, and he wasn't allowed inside. He's guarding Jeffrey, and he's not allowed to be there. Anyways, a federal judge.
To do it.
He's a federal judge. So what the sweetheart deal was, again, it was giving Jeffrey the ultimate off, but also it did not charge a single one of the people that he trafficked these girls to. And that was part of the sweetheart deal. Later, a federal judge ruled that this was an illegal prosecutorial piece of misconduct, and that it was an illegal finding of the court. But it doesn't matter because, whatever, it's all over. But I'm just mentioning this because you're thinking to yourself, well, why am I mentioning Alexander Acosta? Well, do you guys know what Alexander Acosta did after this this horrible miscarriage of justice in this trial? He was appointed by Donald Trump as the head of the Department of Labor, put directly in Trump's cabinet. And I would also like to point out, okay, the files, the testimonies of the victims in this trial, there are not just the victims, there are also witnesses who, like, one person was like a house cleaner or something that walked in on Jeffrey and Trump, like harming an underage woman. And so it wasn't just the testimony of the victim under oath, it was also a witness under oath. But again, Trump was removed from that, and Jeffrey was still found guilty using the same evidence, just with Trump's name plucked out. And then one of the victims, so mad that they screwed the victims with this injustice, went and then anonymously filed a suit to try to take Trump to court themselves. And a few days later, it gets pulled, even though it was anonymous. Then the person who was anonymous makes the statement, I had to pull my case because Trump threatened my family. And you think to yourself, well, if it was anonymous, how did Trump know who it was? And then you realize, oh, that's right, because he's the guy who did the victimizing. So he'd be the one person who would know who it is.
Right. We've spent an hour on this, so I do want to get to Palestine. But can we show my video by
that's coming up. Yes. One more thing I do need to throw up because it's the most amazing part in this that got me rolling with laughter. I have to show this to you. So, all right. Hold on, don't pull it up yet. Wait, I'll give you a few seconds. I'll tell you when. So all this evidence is out there now, right? And now everybody's talking about this, right? And finally, even Trump's supporters are like, we're not having this. The base is not having it. So thankfully, Fox News is finally doing the right thing. And they've decided they're going to make their headline story on their site all about the most insane and evil cover-up in the history of the United States of America. Can we pull that up? The White House waives executive privilege for Biden doctor Kevin O'Connor in the cover-up probe. Because as we all know, Joe Biden had dementia and this doctor covered it up, and this is the cover-up. And if you go to Fox News and you search the words cover-up, don't worry, Fox has got a cover-up for you. The biggest cover-up of all time.
Exactly.
There's other things happening, but I wouldn't know.
So
I only know about this.
Ay, Dios mío.
I love that they're running a cover-up story to counter the biggest cover-up in the history of conspiracy. God, Fox News, you are amazing.
Yeah. Well, don't forget the MSM when Ghislaine was arrested. Remember who they asked to comment? Who they had on all their shows?
Oh, wait, was it the lawyer? What's his name? Yeah, the dude who defended Jeffrey.
Sure was. Alan Dershowitz.
Dershowitz.
Who, yeah, I mean, it's so crazy. Like, he was Jeffrey's lawyer, and, like, he's also Israel's lawyer. I don't know. It's just fucking weird. Whatever.
All right, I'm going to pull up that one video you threw me, and then we'll jump on to for our Palestine stuff. I just had to get all that out of my system, Joy. Can I tell you, it's like in this world, there's all over the world, there are celebratory freedom days for when the UK finally pulled out of all the various places they colonized. This feels like Freedom Day for conspiracy theorists. Like, we are vindicated. You know, today, everyone, even the people who are like, oh, yeah, he probably did unalive himself, even they are now like, oh, no.
I know, but what does it do for the victims? Nothing.
No. Well, it will in the sense that it brings more light to the whole case, and that could ultimately
hold others accountable. Not a damn thing.
Well, we're going to find out how accountable this makes everybody. But here, I'll pull the next one up for you.
It won't. These people have impunity.
True. And Trump's got hundreds of millions of dollars in free legal fees that he extorted from all the various law firms in the country. All right.
This is a test. One could say it's the ultimate test to see if you're going to believe anything that this administration says. The Trump administration is releasing a video in both raw and enhanced versions that it says indicates no one entered the area of the Manhattan prison where Epstein was held the night he died in 2019. This is the video that the FBI is pointing to as evidence. You know, the video that supposedly didn't exist just a few years ago because all of the footage was accidentally deleted. But guess what? We magically found it again, and here it is. There's also no blackmail operation except for all the alleged blackmail schemes that have already been reported by the media. And I might also add that Epstein was definitely not a spy, except for a direct quote from a former U.S. attorney saying that he
Alexander
was
Costa
told, quote, Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone.
Yep.
And it literally cannot get any more Orwellian than this. The party is telling you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, and it was their final, most essential command.
Thank you. I love that quote.
James is rad. I've had him on my show. You can check out that episode on my channel and definitely give him a follow if you don't follow him, but chances are you do. He's awesome. He does great research and great videos. So now let's get to Palestine because
yeah,
it's really, really difficult for me to narrow down all of the things I see on Palestine throughout the week, to narrow them down and only go with a few. I know, like, well, except for that douche canoe in the comments who is sucking Israel's dick. I know like 99% of my viewers are certainly free Palestine, but and we've all seen the countless videos of the babies and the toddlers and stuff. So I tried to kind of not do that. I like to show videos about like people's takes on it, and things like that, because I think it's very interesting. And I think a lot of times people convey what a lot of us are feeling. And then there's videos that are complete shit shows, such as this.
Shalom. My name is Alicia, and I serve in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. When I see a comment like this, I can't agree more. We need to be praying for the people of Gaza. I believe in Jesus, and I believe that we need to be praying not only for the people of Israel, not only for the people of Gaza, but for the whole world. This world needs to know Yeshua, the Savior of the world. Join me in prayer as I pray for the people of Gaza as an Israeli soldier. God, we pray for the people of Gaza that you would comfort them, that you would give them peace, and that you would show and reveal yourself to them as Messiah of the world. Amen. Shalom. My name is Alicia, and I serve in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force.
You want, you're praying not that your brothers and sisters stop unaliving them in the most heinous way possible. You're praying that they find out who your God is, because you hate Muslims. Oh, I see. Gotcha. And it's not defense. Israel Defense Force. There's nothing fucking defensive about it. Disgusting. It's Israeli Holocaust forces. That's all it is. So gross. Like, I'm such a Christian. I'm going to make this video and just say you should be praying for people in Gaza. If I prayed to a God, it would be not to have people in Gaza believe in my God, but it would be to make them have to stop enduring the shit that you are doing to them.
A Holocaust. Yep.
Everybody, please download Bob Villain. But anyway.
I got to real quick read to you one of my favorite Bible verses that immediately jumped to my mind when I heard him making that prayer. This is Matthew 6, verses 5 and 6. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray, standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. Literally telling you that you are a hypocrite if you try to pray and use that to, like, you know, be seen and to try to, like, and you're a shit Christian. You're a shitty Christian.
Well, that's what I don't understand, because he says he's Jewish, but he praises Jesus. It sounds like, I don't know. I'm confused, but
it sounds like a propaganda to pull in all of the freaking apocalyptic.
Yeah, like, I'm going to just pull in everyone. I'm also going to praise Allah at the end of this too. What is next?
All right, let's pull up the next one here. Hold on. Oh my goodness. By the way, I was born in the church. My father was a minister, so I have a weird encyclopedic knowledge of the Bible, strangely enough.
I did not know that.
It's true. Boy, things went terribly wrong for me. All right.
Look at that hat. Look at that hat, Joshua. Oh, my.
Oh, no. Are you ready?
Father.
I know.
I don't think that Israel has a choice. So not just for the Israelis that are living there, but also for the Jewish people around the world. Because Israel's, one of its key functions is as a safe haven. Because we all know what has been happening to Jewish communities in the last 9 months as a result of this surge of anti-Semitism under the guise of this, modern subset of anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism. We can all see the attacks that Jewish communities are being subject to, and the increased rate at which many of these communities are moving to Israel. So Israel doesn't have a choice in terms of long-term survival, either for the existing Israeli citizens or for the Jewish diaspora. It's certainly made it through extremely difficult periods in the past. If you think about the formation of the State of Israel, when David Ben-Gurion declared the state on the 14th of May, 1948, it was a fledgling state. Yes, the Jewish Yishuv had for many decades already been building up the state institutions in anticipation of declaring itself a state, but it was outnumbered, outgunned, it was immediately attacked in a promised war of annihilation by its neighbors. And upon the British withdrawal, and even before that, they had been confiscating arms from the local Jewish community. So it was essentially left completely defenseless. And it managed to survive. And it has fought subsequent wars of intended annihilation, and it has managed to survive. So I don't think, when you have no choice, this isn't the West fighting a war in Iraq or a war in Afghanistan. This is an army of conscripts, doctors, lawyers, engineers, teachers, plumbers, carpenters, who, when the country was under attack, didn't wait to be called, because they know the importance of putting on their uniform and defending their families. This is not a country that has a choice. We've seen similar, I would say, bravery amongst Ukrainians who are defending their very lives and the lives of their nearest and dearest. And when one is faced with that kind of existential threat, then these questions as to whether or not Israel will give up or whether it can actually succeed become a great deal less important. And when we see the way that Israel has unified, I know neither of you have been since the 7th of October. I've had the opportunity now to go on a number of occasions, and to see the way the country has come together. And not just Jewish Israelis, the way that Arab Israelis have said, Ein li eretz acheret, I have no other country, is, I think, a remarkable indication of the strength of the will and of the dedication that Israeli citizens have to defend themselves against this unspeakable horror. To push back against these forces of darkness. There's been a lot of talk about forces of light and darkness. It's undeniable that the death cult that is Hamas celebrates death. You see mothers who have children who have become martyrs, in their words, who have killed themselves in order to slaughter Jews. And you see that being celebrated, not by all, but you do see instances of that being celebrated. that is the complete inverse of what we see when Israelis are putting on uniform, not just to defend their own families, but also to do their utmost to protect civilians in the context of the war that they're fighting in Gaza.
Okay,
I'm confused.
so let's break this down. First of all,
Yeah.
that guy's face. Love it. Second of all, what in the actual fuck are you talking about, bitch? This is why people need to talk to their children and grandchildren about the reality, because people like her are going to be teaching history in the future. That's what's going to be happening. And their books are going to push shit like this. Anyone with a brain, like with a fucking brain, knows none of that fucking happened. What the hell is she talking about? Yeah. 1948, that's not what happened. Nakba. It is a proven fact. What the fuck are you? And you know what? This is interesting. I've watched thousands of videos like this, and I have never heard someone even say this before. So I guess this is a new narrative or something. I don't even know where the fuck she's pulling this from. She, it's fucking unreal. And the fact that she's like talking about the mothers calling their children martyrs. Yes, they are. And that is what we say. Because unalived, calling someone, M-U-R-D-E-R-E-D, I have to say it because they'll take my show down. Calling someone that is not honoring them. Calling them martyrs is saying they stood up and fought for their land. They fought for their family. Their lives were taken from them. So yes, we do call them martyrs, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the fact that she wants to talk about IDF and how great they are, Israel literally imprisons people who refuse not to join their military. Literally. Yeah. If you are called, they have like 100% mandatory draft. 100%. You turn 18, you're in. You don't do it, you go to prison. You can find videos all over of people with kafiyas that are like, I'm out here right now because they're saying I have to cross that line and get in that uniform, or they will be hauling me to prison, and I am going to prison. They make you serve. That's not pride. That's a fucking threat.
Yep.
Disgusting. Absolutely.
By the way, I want to throw this in because I don't think you've included a piece about it. But just a few days ago, Netanyahu announced that he's no longer going to exempt the ultra-Orthodox from service. And he's already sent out like call-up orders to something, I think it was like 2,000, 1,500 or 2,000 students, letting them know that you've been conscripted into the army. Wow. So, and let's just remind everybody, the ultra-Orthodox, they are, I don't know, they're pretty intense. They're intense. So I'm guessing he's going to have a riot on his hands. Good. Like, because it won't just be those 2,000 students or whatever that are going to be rioting. It's going to be the entire damned Orthodox community. Good. And it's a very large number of people. So, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. On to the next one.
My name is Eden Dagan, second, and I'm from Israel. I'm a model. If you know, you know. Yeah, hey, don't touch.
Free Palestine.
Just watch it again. Everyone watch her face.
I'm from Israel. I'm a model. If you know, you know. Yeah, hey, don't touch.
Free Palestine.
Like, why is she so shocked? I mean, I've never seen someone that shocked. It's like no one has ever said that to her. But you see her like pushing people and shit, like ew.
Dude, that is so funny.
Isn't that amazing? I watched it like 15 times. I'm like, I have never seen someone that shocked over just saying Free Palestine.
Hold on. I'm just going to zoom to the face she makes because it was so.
Please. Incredible.
She is her own soy jack meme now. I mean, this is fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I had to.
All right, let's pull up the next one here. Sorry, I gotta like catch my breath after laughing that hard. Whew. All right. Next up we have, and I've got one little tag thing at the end of this for our Palestine thing, and it's my next installment in what I call Let's Try to Trigger Joy, but we'll get to that in just a moment.
Oh, God.
All right. We've got here Irish politician Paul Murphy, and let's hear what he has to say.
Death, death to the IDF. That should be a statement of just good sense. Dismantle the army that is responsible for this slaughter. Support Palestinian resistance to genocide and occupation. But it speaks to the upside-down world that we live in, where Bob Villan chanting this simple slogan was treated as an outrage. It provoked more investigations into artists speaking up against genocide, more attempts to conflate protest against genocide with anti-Semitism. Because in the US, across Europe, Ireland included, we're seeing the spread of authoritarianism to shut down, to oppose, to prevent criticism and opposition to Israel. A crackdown and criminalizing of peaceful protests. It's only a few more days before Palestine Action will likely be officially proscribed as a terrorist organization in Britain. Last week, many of the peaceful activists I was with at the Global March to Gaza were in Brussels to demand that the EU suspend its trade association agreement with Israel. They were violently suppressed, including Irish activists arrested and carried away for simply singing a Palestine rendition of Bella Ciao. I finish with some other words of Bob Villan that haven't gotten the same coverage. We, like those in the spotlight before us, are not the story. We are a distraction from the story. We are not the first, we will not be the last. And if you care for the sanctity of human life and freedom of speech, we urge you to speak up too. Free Palestine.
Woo!
This is why I love Ireland. I want to go back to Ireland and just hug everyone.
I want to expatriate to Ireland. That's where I'm at. Can I say that? I think I can say that. That's my freedom of speech. I still have it. I want to expatriate to Ireland.
Oh, imagine if we had representatives like Claire Daly and
Yeah,
Mick and gentlemen like this. Like, what? It's
that's
just
badass as hell right there. Yeah, instead all we have are the soulless lizard people that raise their hands at the UN to veto another attempt to even write an angry letter about what Israel's done.
Yeah.
Yay.
People think anti-Semitism means hatred of Jews, but here's the twist. It's a word invented by a German political agitator in 1879, Wilhelm Marr. Jews aren't the only Semites. Arabs across the Middle East and North Africa, Egyptians, Iraqis, Saudis, Palestinians, Syrians, Jordanians, Lebanese, Algerians, Moroccans, all belong to the Semitic family of peoples. And yet, when someone says anti-Semitic, none of them are included. The word excludes the very people it linguistically describes. So why does this term erase every other Semitic people and still only apply to Jews? That's not just misleading. That's doublespeak, deliberately obscure, but meant to sound clinical or even scientific. So I ask, if that language was adopted to justify its state, was it the only thing borrowed? Control the language, and you control the meaning. Redefining hate behind a misnomer, that's how you win a war without firing a shot. What else was learned about borders, identity, and enemies? Have the oppressed become the oppressors? It's not never again, it's just never again to us.
A lot of really good points in there.
Oh my God. I'm just going to pin this or something and just drop it everywhere because it's short and it's factual and it is on fucking point.
My only complaint is it just needs to be made by a person on video because I don't like the AI video. AI video does give me kind of the willies, especially when you're talking about a serious subject.
I couldn't tell.
But it's getting better. It's getting better. Like I said, that one looked really good, but it's AI for sure.
Oh, I didn't know.
But again, that doesn't mean that every single thing that he said wasn't true. It's just it was done through an AI video generator. I'd love to just see a person just like lay it out, you know, that way people can't look at it and be like, but it's from AI. It's like, now you can't use that as a deflection, you know?
Right.
But that was great.
Next.
So this is my segment that I have called, we've done this once before. I call it Try to Trigger Joy. So
yeah,
let's see if I
did something Trump last time, and I was like, whatever.
Well, this one's features Trump, if
it always does.
But this one's not him specifically. When you're ready. All right, everybody, watch Joy's face. We're going to see if she gets triggered.
Well, first of all, let me try and blow it up so I can see if I can even see. I can't see what the fuck that says.
I didn't hear the audio, though. Where's my audio? Hold on, I'm going to reload this because there's no audio. And I can try to read it if you like, or I'll turn it up. There was audio to this once. Okay, I guess I'll just read it. It's Netanyahu, and he says, I want to express the appreciation and admiration, not only of all Israelis, but of all Jewish people. Oh, look, he's conflating. And many, many admirers around the world for your leadership of the free world, your leadership of a just cause, and the pursuit of peace and security that you're leading in many lands. And now, especially in the Middle East, we have great opportunities. President has an extraordinary team, and I think our teams together, I think they make an extraordinary combination to meet challenges and seize opportunities. But the president has already realized great opportunity. He forged the Abraham Accords. He's forging peace as we speak, in one country, in one region after the other. So I want to present Mr. President the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for a peace prize, which is well deserved. So when I saw this, my first thought was, did I just see Hitler nominate Mussolini for a peace prize? This is incredible.
I mean, do you know the history behind the Nobel Peace Prize?
Inform us.
Well, let's just say they're the same people hanging out with Epstein.
Cool.
It's not good people. Definitely research this, guys. It's not something like good, and you can tell because W's gotten one. Like, look at the warmongers who have gotten it. Peace Prize. Look up the history. Trust me. I'm not triggered. It's not like it's something good to get. Don't care.
It's just incredible for it's like literally, again, it's the guy doing the Holocaust, giving an award for peace to the guy who gave him all the money, weapons, and international cover to do so.
Well, a couple months ago, I think it was Ben-Gvir said Biden was the best thing to ever happen to Israel since October 7th. And I'm like, okay, well, yes, that's true. And now Trump has continued that.
The thing is, imagine being able to be one of those people who can both use October 7th as a cudgel, but then also be like, it's the best thing that ever happened. Like, that's sickness. That is sickness. My gosh.
Well, if you remember, Bibi said after 9/11 that it was good for Israel.
Yeah. Well, because he knew that it would draw us into the Middle East.
Yeah.
And how true was that? It only took us 21 years to get out of Afghanistan.
I wouldn't say get out, but more so.
More like we turned tail, ran, and the place immediately got sacked by the local extremists within days. It was something like less than a week. My God. Wow.
So
wow.
This is the last thing, because this show is like, I can't do shows this long. I can't. So this is from 30 years ago on Mad TV.
Apparently this is Nostradamus video. Let's see what happens.
Take back America to 1955. Take back America to when God was still alive. Truer words were never spoke or sung. Hi, I'm Darlene McBride. You know, I love this country the way it used to be. Simple-minded with simple values for simple people. But then the big government, the Supreme Court, and those bleeding heart liberals just couldn't leave well enough alone. And now look at it. A big, ugly melting pot just boiling over on what used to be a nice, white stove. That's why I decided to launch my Take Back America tour across this great country. I'll be coming to a city near you, singing inspirational songs filled with traditional values. The Lord loves the NRA. He told me so the other day. He spelled it out in bullets in the sky. He's sitting up in heaven with his AK-47. He's a rough and ready, macho kind of guy. Yeehaw! Excuse me, Mr. Negro, but I'd like to ask you a question. What's so bad about the back of the bus? You still got a seat like the rest of us. I don't understand all the buzz about you sitting in the back of the bus. Nothing would be finer than to drop a bomb on China in the morning. Nothing would be sweeter than to shoot a welfare cheater in the morning. You know, there's been a lot of talk about the effect of illegal immigration on the overburdened healthcare system. Well, here's my solution. Hey, senorita, put down that fajita. Don't tell me you're eating for two. Before you break water, I've got an order that I'm about to give to you. Get your butt back to Mexico. Adios, and that's that. Get your butt back to Mexico. And then have your bread to su casa, you hear? Take back America.
Be sure to catch Darlene in these cities on her upcoming tour. Laramie, Dallas, Little Rock, Amarillo, Topeka, Rapid City, Des Moines, Duluth, and Paducah.
America. Let's take it back, y'all. I look forward to taking back America with you. Remember, folks, it is not too late to give this great country of ours a fresh coat of white paint. And you heard that from me, Darlene McBride. Bye-bye.
I repeat, 30 years ago.
Yeah, it almost felt like a how-to manual that the current administration seemed to be using. That's interesting.
Pretty much. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, smash like and subscribe. Also, my new book, I'm so fucking proud of it. Oh yeah, Josh, I shipped yours out today.
Oh, yay.
So you can read it, and everyone, you can actually get my book now on Amazon, Kindle, and BarnesandNoble.com. The Wrongful Conviction of Temujin Kensu. So this is someone who became a dear friend of mine who has now been in prison a few, basically, 39 years actually now. So we're going on 4 decades. This man's life has been taken from him. He has been proven innocent multiple times, including twice in a court of law. He has supporters from all around the world, including judges, the Supreme Court of India, celebrities. I have people who submitted things for me to include in my book. And Muhammad Ali's daughter, Kalia Ali, sent me something that's in here. Jason Flom, who is the co-creator of the Innocence Project, submitted something. And pretty much everyone on true crime podcasts who has like a big following has submitted something. So I'm very, very thankful and humbled by them submitting things, but please check this out. It's so important. It's the most important thing I've ever done. And he needs to be out of prison ASAP. He has a brain tumor, and Governor Gretchen Whitmer it has had his clemency papers on her desk for over 6 years. And they are not giving him treatment, and they are abusing him and everything else you can think of, because he has way too much dirt on way too many people in the system. So I stepped up and gave him a voice. So this is so important. So again, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, and Kindle. And please check it out and let me know what you think.
You 100%. You should buy a copy. And if you're poor and lonely, just call me and I'll read it to you.
Oh. Well, here, on that note, here's a kicker. And I haven't talked about this, but it is in my book. So when I visited Temujin in prison, because of my blindness, I had to go through hell and high water. But basically, I told them, it's hard for me to read and write. When I do interviews, I download transcripts. I record them and I download transcripts. That's what I do. And after over a month, they finally said, okay, you can bring in a tape recorder. So I interviewed him for over 4 hours, and it's recorded, and it's literally the first time in over 30 years that someone's been able to do that. So much of the transcript is in the book as well. And because I have all of that recorded clear as day, and it hasn't happened in over 30 years, I am thinking about doing an audio book, but that would be like, I just published this a week ago, so that's no time soon. But, essentially it would be, also though, subscribe to the podcast Inconceivable. It is actually, I'm wearing the shirt. It's a podcast that you can hear some of my interview on. And it's about Temujin Kensu. And if you're in Boston area, please come out to the True Crime Podcast Festival, Boston. Next week, I will be there. I'm traveling out to promote my book and the podcast, Inconceivable. It's 18th through 20th. So I will be there, and I'm so excited to network with other true crime podcasters and authors and all of those things. So please check that out if you can.
And I want to promote everybody. I want you to go out and watch a David Lynch movie. I'm wearing the shirt. Hold on, where's his face? Can we see him? Get some David Lynch up in there. There we go.
You realize he liked Trump, right?
Who? No, not Lynch. No.
Yeah.
I think you're mistaken. I'm going to double check on that one.
He supported Bernie in 2016. And then
he was a Bernie transporter, transition?
Look it up.
I'm gonna look it up. I don't want to hear that. Don't tell me anymore.
I've seen quotes, but I could be, maybe people lied when they posted like the meme quote things, but sorry, dude.
Oh, thanks, Debbie. Thanks, Debbie Downer. I appreciate that.
Sorry, but buy my book.
Yeah. And hey, before we disappear, we should nominate somebody for the Capitalist Death Parade Grand Marshal, the Grand Wizard of our parade this week. Who's our worst person in the world this week? You got anyone you'd like to nominate?
I'm sick of doing BB and Trump. We're not doing them. We're doing someone more obscure. Right. I'm gonna pick that like stoic lady, whoever the fuck that was. Or no, I'm gonna pick whoever the fuck is involved with taking a minute out of that video. That's who I'm going to nominate.
I would like to nominate Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino and pretend for a moment that I'm like one of these idiot MAGA people, and it's like, it's not Trump who's doing this. It's the evil people that he hired. So let's go ahead and say that it's their fault that for some reason we need to hide the Jeffrey client list forever. So there'll be that for this week, and we'll see who he puts in next after he fires them. Surely he'll fire them.
Oh,
surely.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Well, thanks, guys. Again, smash like and subscribe and buy my book. Yay.
And love one another. Love one another. God damn it. Free Temujin. Free fucking Temujin.
Much love, guys.
Peace and love, and we'll see you next week on the Capitalist Death